मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है, जीना इसी का नाम है. Namaste. I'm Shubhi Mathur and I welcome you all to yet another episode, or rather series, of Let Us Talk. This song does remind us that life is full of ups and downs. उतार चढ़ाव आते हैं और चले भी जाते हैं. God has His own way of testing us, our patience and our faith. ये testing times ही तो होते हैं when we come to know about our strengths and our weaknesses. So here we are with the series Jeena Issi ka naam hai, where we will interact with our speakers and get to know their journey, their experiences, and get motivated to face challenging situations which come in our life. So today we have with us Mrs. Sunita Mukarji, a retired IAS officer who took voluntary retirement and then joined the International Civil Services, where she worked as the head of UNFPA in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Philippines. Welcome, Sunita ji. It's an honor to have you here on Let Us Talk.
Thank you, Shubhi. I'm delighted to be here. I'm so happy to come and talk to you and to your audience.
And as you know that we are doing this series Jeena Issi Kanaamhai, where we want to highlight that live life to the fullest, make the most of every moment, and utar chadav aate jate hain, but still we should know, we should learn how to live life gracefully, how to age gracefully. So Sunita ji, let us start with your professional journey first. You started your career as a lecturer. Then you joined the Indian Civil Services and then took voluntary retirement and joined the International Civil Services, where you were posted mostly abroad, outside the country. And this is way back in 80s and 90s when we are talking. So life would not have been so easy back then. There were no video calls, there were no mobile phones. But despite of all these barriers, like distance, I would say, despite the distance, and your children were growing up back then, your husband was working, how did you manage this situation?
You know, you have to address issues as and when they come, with good intentions, with good upbringing of your children, and with an excellent understanding with your husband. You know, you can manage everything. I never compromised on my job, no matter what. You know, I could not let my job suffer and people say, Dekha, ladkiyan IAS officer banke aisi. So I could not let that happen. When I was posted as Deputy Commissioner, I was the first Deputy Commissioner in the state. They had never given a district to the state, to a lady. And my husband used to say, कि तुम्हें तो झंडा ऊंचा रहे औरतों का करना है, कि I could not miss a single day, a single opportunity, lest people also talk. But it is with the cooperation of the whole family that you can move ahead, and best intentions to give, not to take. That has always been my principle. So let me tell you, our first regular posting is as SDN. I was SDN Nurpur. Nurpur is on the border of Pathankot. Now, when I went there, the SHO would not salute me. He would take off his topi. If there was a murder, there are very few murders in Himachal. But if there was a murder, it becomes a big issue, not like Delhi or anywhere. If there's a murder, he will not talk to me. There were no mobile phones, I couldn't call him. If I checked, they said he's gone to Pathankot to check with the politician what to do. And whereas the government is checking with me, my video when I left my subdivision as SDM, and he was in tears. He said, only last 3 months I cooperated with her and saw the change. Otherwise, he said, I just did not cooperate with her. When she would come to my office, I would leave on some pretext. So they would not accept a woman. And this led to I mean, it needs a lot of time. We have SDM only 1 year. I had that 1 year to prove myself. You know, when I first went to call on the DC, he said, हाँ जी क्या चाहिए? मैंने कहा मैं SDM पोस्ट हुई हूँ. उन्होंने क्या आप क्या करोगी यहाँ फील्ड में? आपको घर बैठ के बच्चे पैदा करने चाहिए. आप क्या करोगी? इतना it's so politically ridden, it's so conflict torn. How are you going to handle it? But in the end, he gave me an outstanding report and he said no man even could have done it. So when you're well-intentioned, you know, everybody moves to help you. The whole world comes to help you. And this went out throughout my career, you know, as, let me tell you, as Deputy Commissioner. As Deputy Commissioner, they had never posted a woman to a district. And I started the Antodaya program there. Antodaya program meant that the poorest in each village, 5 in each village, had to be uplifted. The government told us to do 20% of these 5 in every village and do 20% 5 times to reach 100%. Now, what was this 5? You have to select the poorest. The issue is you have to select them with the panchayats, with the people. And they always put up political leaders, but you have to see, are they really the poorest? Ant mein hai kya? And then, you know, give them schemes like cows, buffaloes, or loan for houses, or sewing machines, or tractors, whatever they want. 50% was grant, 50% was loan. They didn't want to take loan because they felt they would not be able to repay. But if you just give grant, it is meaningless because they just throw it away. It has no values often. So I asked my officers, I had a good team. I asked them, can we do 100%? Instead, 5 times do 20%. And they said, yes, it is a good idea. नहीं तो पूरे साल हम इसी पे घूमते रहेंगे और कोई काम नहीं होगा. So we were in the field for a month or 2 and we selected the people, did the whole program, you know, to do this in the year 1979. So we were doing this in the year 1979, and just before, 1 or 2 days before, I learned an inquiry had been constituted against me. And the officer had come to inquire. However, because we were so busy in the end that I had no time to look at the inquiry or talk to the inquiry officer. But it was in the back of my mind, oh, what is he looking at, what is he finding? So the CM, when he came, he went onto the stage and he said, we had posted a lady deputy commissioner here thinking she will do a good job. But she didn't. We had sent an inquiry officer here. You know, my heart sank. I almost had tears in my eyes. We had been awake for 2 nights, you know, and slept barely 1 or 2 hours each day. And we were in the villages. We were not sitting in our homes. And I had a small daughter, like a year-old daughter, at home. So my heart sank. What is he going to say? And he said, इस लड़की ने अपनी ड्यूटी बिल्कुल नहीं की. इसने तो पूजा की. So, I mean, everything changed after that. Everyone accepted me, you know, just because we had worked so hard and so sincere. So, sincerity of purpose. The capacity to dream something and then follow it up with sincerity of purpose.
But tell me something, weren't you ever demotivated with so much, with facing so much discrimination at work, not being given a judicious statement, being questioned every time, being looked by suspicious eyes every time, and you know, you always had to validate that you are a woman, you can perform your job. So wasn't this frustrating? Wasn't this annoying?
I love working. Even now at 75, I'm working all the time. I love working. I was at times demotivated. I won't say I wasn't, but I bounced back very quickly. And I had a very supportive husband. Na, उसको आके मैं रोज रोती थी, ये हुआ, वो हुआ. And he would, I mean, at times I had tears in my eyes. He would wipe my tears. And he would say, this too shall pass. That was his favorite phrase. This too shall pass. But you know, what motivated me and kept me going was success after success. Because one, I worked very hard. I worked with good teams. And secondly, I sought help when I needed. This is another factor. Seek help when you need. Don't be ashamed. Don't think I am a woman. What will he think? If I didn't know something, I would go to my seniors or to my colleagues and say, I don't know this, please tell me what this is.
Sometimes people feel कि अरे मैं इतना सीनियर, मैं ऐसे उससे हेल्प मांगू. Yes, so this inhibition mostly people have. So yes, I would say जीना इसी का नाम है कि उतार चढ़ाव वर्क फ्रंट पे भी काफी होते हैं. It can be very challenging, very tough also, but never give up. And this was when you were working as an IAS in India. How was life when you were posted abroad? How was it there then? And this is, we are talking about 80s. This is, you joined the International Civil Services in 80s or 90s?
1994.
Okay. So that was also a time when technology was not so advanced. So how did you balance it? It must have been very exciting, postings outside India. But how did you handle it? Where was your family that time?
So if my husband was then posted in Bombay, my daughter for some time was in Bombay. He moved from Delhi to Bombay because she said at least one parent should be with us, with me. She didn't like the hospital.
How old was
she? She was doing dental surgery, so she was probably in her 20s, late teens or 20s. So my husband moved to Bombay. But then she moved to USA. So he was in Bombay. She was studying in USA. My son was studying in London. And I was in Sri Lanka and then Bangladesh. We were different continents. I kept close to India not because of my husband or children, but because of my parents and in-laws. They were old and couldn't travel. And I made it a point to come and visit them as often as possible, which was not very often, but still.
So weren't there times when you felt that your professional kick is high and it is such a prestigious post, but everybody spread in different corners of the world, and sometimes things will be going out of your hand, that your parents or in-laws who were old that time, they would have had health issues. Your husband would have needed you at times, or you would have needed him because he was always your punching bag. He would, pacify you. So you must be missing him. So weren't there times जब ये ख्याल आया कि यार छोड़ छाड़ के अब कर ली नौकरी, अब let's go back?
सिर्फ एक बार ऐसे ख्याल आया जब मैं फिलीपींस में थी, my last posting, and my husband was becoming very kind of quiet, exclusive. He got used to staying alone and wouldn't talk much. So my daughter said to me one day, if you don't leave and go, I will leave and go. So I applied for a job in Bombay. I got a job in Bombay. And then I asked him that I'm coming. He knew I had applied, but he didn't expect it will get. But the salary I was getting was only going to pay my house rent. And I couldn't stay with him. He was extreme, towards New Bombay. And I was in the, elite Bombay side. The office was there. He said, no, you don't come. I will come. I said, you won't leave and come. He said, I will leave and come. And he did leave and come. So I didn't have to. But there came a time when I was completely fed up of staying away from each other. And we had such a ball last 2 years. He left his job and he thought he would be miserable. But he said it was the happiest period in his life.
So he moved to Philippines with you?
Yeah, last 2 years before I retired. And we had a ball. It was wonderful.
So कहते हैं ना कि you were living your life to the fullest, your professional life, I will say, that you love to work, you said, and you were given such prestigious postings, tremendous support from your partner and family. And देखने में तो लगता ही है कि हाँ, लाइफ हो तो ऐसी, जीना इसी का नाम है, प्रोफेशनल फ्रंट है, पर्सनल सपोर्ट है. But like how you told us, there were ups and downs, and this is very natural. This is part and parcel of life. So any message you have for the viewers that कई बार जब personal front is strong, is so supportive, but professional really puts you down. So these challenges will come and go. How should we go about it? कैसे life को gracefully जिएं? Like people say ना कि यार तुम्हें क्या पता हमें work front पे कितनी problem हो रही है. Our boss is miserable. He's made our life so miserable, and that is why I bring out that anger and frustration at home. So what message will you say to our viewers that how to take life gracefully when it is not so graceful to you, when life is not so judicious to you?
देखिए जिंदगी में I mean, life is never smooth. It has ups and downs. If there's sunshine, there's also darkness. So if I have faced lots of crises in my career. In the worst was that for 4 years my promotion was stopped after being approved. But मैंने इसका असर, I didn't let it affect my work life. And this is the greatest compliment my husband paid me when he was talking to somebody. He said she went through agony, but I never saw it affect her work life. So there were lots of...
How did you not let it affect? It is so natural that, sometimes that feeling comes कि यार इतना काम कर रहे हैं, I'm giving my 100% and I'm not getting what I want. So how did you not let it affect?
At home, sometimes I would burst out crying. And then I would say, what is the use of crying? There's no use crying for these things. And the promotion would have just meant a difference of $100. It was not money, but it was the stigma with it that I had done something wrong. I couldn't explain to anybody what had happened because no one asked me. But that pain is reserved in my heart and does not affect my work. It does affect my relations at home. Sometimes I lose my temper at home and my husband and children understand that she's upset from office. So they will say, okay, blurt it out. What is upsetting you? What has happened? But ये जिंदगी में हर जगह होता है, हर समय हुआ है कि every posting I had, it was as if I was on probation. I have to prove myself. मतलब आपने DC prove कर दिया, फिर अगली posting में फिर prove करना है, फिर अगली posting में फिर prove करना है. Because each boss looks at you with suspicion, your colleagues look at you with suspicion. इसके तो बच्चे हैं, ये क्या काम करेंगे? She's a woman. And partly that fault is ours because somehow we give that impression, which is not right. But life is not all smooth. You have to work for everything. And you have to take it with a pinch of salt. हो गया कोई बात. This too shall pass.
वही I was saying कि कहते हैं ना जीना इसी का नाम है, ups and downs होंगे.
जिंदगी यही.
Yeah, being an IAS officer or being in UN doesn't mean that you've not had your share of troubles at work. People usually perceive कि अच्छा सरकारी नौकरी है, such a comfortable job, सुबह गाड़ी आती होगी पिक के लिए, मैडम को 4 सल्यूट मिलते हैं, she must be having, she must be enjoying her work, everything. But yes, there are challenges everywhere and to everyone, no matter who you are. We should learn how to handle it gracefully. We should not sulk or brood over it. Jeena Issi ka naam hai. We will be in continuation with Sunita ji. In this episode, we spoke to her about her professional journey. Now let us hear about her personal journey in our next episode. Thank you, Sunita ji. We'll continue our conversation to the next episode.
Thank you very much. Thank you.